Hello and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today as I react to this video. While I desperately try to get these beaming, shining lights out of my eyes coming through my inferior American blinds. The German military will become Europe's most powerful. Here's why. Damn. That's quite a statement. I mean, that would really be quite amazing, huh? Quite a comeback if they become Europe's most powerful. But EU Made Simple has the case for it. And holy crap, this video has 1.5 million views. Check EU Made Simple out down below. Zoom out. There we go.
Fighter jets.
I didn't even hit play. Mind control.
Fighter jets and helicopters that don't fly.
That sounds great. That sounds like America's military.
Standard issue assault rifles that don't shoot straight. And shortages in ammunition, boots, and even underwear during a NATO mission in Lithuania. These are the headlines that the once feared German military are currently making.
You know, underwear, that's actually kind of interesting. Like when you think about shortages for a military, it's really like, it could be anything. It could be anything. I guess underwear is not really a necessity, but do you really want to go charging out, you know, freeballing? I don't think so. So it can be anything along, you know, the chain of supply that you need. That could really screw you over.
Not to mention the hundreds of millions of euros that went to consultants in an effort to clean up the army's mess, with very little to show for it.
Well, the consultants have a lot to show for it, huh? Maybe a new car, new mansion.
And high-ranking officials are raising their concerns, and so are NATO allies, where statements such as these are not.
No matter where you look, there's dysfunction. Damn. Why are the Germans only terrible at war when they are on our side? You guys are doing it on purpose.
Uncommon. Ever since the Cold War ended in 1991, Germany has allowed its military to deteriorate. And this is somewhat understandable, as Germany was busy integrating the West with the East, which posed great economic and social challenges. Over the last 30 years, there was simply very little incentive to have a powerful military, as Germany doesn't share a border with potential aggressors like Russia. NATO, and especially the US, was there for protection, and unlike the US and the UK, Germany had very few overseas commitments, and there was very little appetite for a large military among the population.
That is pretty fascinating, isn't it? I mean, it is interesting to think of it that way in terms of incentives, because military spending, I mean, at least over here in America, can get absolutely out of control. So it could be, you know, something pretty enticing to say, let's cut back on the military spend, you know. We're in NATO. They'll protect us. Come on, guys. We don't really need the military. We got our friends. That's quite interesting.
We still remember the
especially, like he says, for the countries that aren't bordered by an adversary.
Horrors of World War II. But now, overnight, everything has changed. Only 3 days after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the German Chancellor, Olaf...
I see. That's why, okay, this video is 2 years old. I see.
Scholz.
Damn, isn't it crazy it's been going on that long?
Only 3 days after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, made a shocking announcement, declaring that Germany will massively increase its defense spending and meet the 2% NATO benchmark. This was met by applause in Parliament, and surveys already show
Yay.
that 75% of Germans support this decision. But how significant is this increase? Let's have a look at defense spending across the globe last year in...
Damn. This chart always kind of blows my mind. 778 billion. Now, where's Germany? Okay, I mean, number 7. 52 billion. Percent of GDP. My God. 3.7%. Saudi Arabia, holy mother. I didn't realize that. 8.4. And then Russia, I mean, that makes sense, I guess. A war machine. 4.3%, even higher than the USA. But then there's Germany, 1.4.
2021. As you can see, Germany spent $52.8 billion, sitting at 7th in the
I mean, it's interesting because your GDP is so high, that even though you only spend 1.4%, you're still number 7.
World ranking list, slightly ahead of France, but significantly behind the UK and Russia. But if we compare percentage of GDP, Germany ranks much lower. Of the 20 biggest military spenders, Germany comes in 15th, as they only spend 1.4% of...
Wow, China only spends 1.7. Fascinating type of stuff, Fascinating stuff. Isn't that just kind of fascinating? How many times can I say fascinating before everybody stops watching this video? Fascinating, fascinating. I'll stop there. But my point is just that, obviously you think of, China being the main, competitor to the American army. But they only spend 1.7, but obviously their economy is gigantic.
Of their GDP on their army. Many have criticized this lack of spending, as it is far below the NATO target of 2%. However, once Germany hits the 2% target, things will look very different.
There's Trump, of course.
Because of Germany's strong economy, military expenditure would rise to $76.12 billion, putting Germany into 3rd place, ahead of Russia and the UK, making them the frontrunner within the EU and Europe by quite some distance. Wow. And German politicians have said as much, clearly stating that this is the intent.
I see. Okay, so there you go. So it's actually just kind of mathematical. You guys will be the number 1 army, at least funded army in Europe.
And it doesn't stop here. In an effort to modernize the military more quickly, Olaf Scholz has also dedicated a one-time special fund of over 100 billion euros.
Where did you find that?
To German defense. This is a lot of money, but spend doesn't necessarily equal military might. The UK, France, and Russia are still far ahead when it comes to military strength. Here we can see the comparison between these.
Ah, yes, okay.
Nations.
We're not all starting from the same starting point. Got it, of course. And there also are intangible things when it comes to military might, are there not? Are there not? Such as the overall will of the people in the military. You know what I mean? That's kind of that's a really difficult thing to quantify.
While Germany does have a
But that won't matter when we replace them all with killer robots.
Significant number of soldiers, aircraft, and tanks, it only has a very small presence on the sea. France and the UK do have a considerable navy, with multiple destroyers, submarines, and even 3 aircraft carriers in between them. And well, then there's Russia, who just has a lot of everything. As for nuclear weapons, in the aftermath of World War II, it was agreed that Germany cannot possess nuclear, biological, or chemical weapons.
6,000.
However, this comparison is somewhat incomplete and flawed, as it does not take into account military modernization, high-tech weapons, logistics, military experience, and intelligence.
Those are all very important aspects as well.
Whether Germany will become a military superpower also
I mean, I think you guys have proven that you have the capability. You have the experience. And I know you guys are logistical geniuses, I would say. So. Now, maybe not as far as bureaucracy, that might slow it down a little bit. And as far as high tech, I mean, you guys are, you know how to manufacture stuff, it turns out.
Depends on how the money is spent. Scholz has already hinted at a high-level tech wish list, such as the F-35 fighter to replace older Tornado aircraft.
I should say manufacture and engineer stuff.
From the 1970s, the Future Combat Air System, which is developing together with France, heavy transport helicopters, modernization of air defense missile systems, armed drones, modern warships.
Armed drones, there it is. The robots, the killer robots.
Etc. However, as mentioned at the start of the video,
warships are just badass, aren't they? I mean, man. They're just badass. As much as a man can hate war, it's difficult to hate a warship. It's difficult. And a fighter jet.
Germany still seems to be getting the basics wrong. only around 40% of helicopters and 65% of tanks are operational. And it gets even worse. A recent German parliamentary report found that only 50% of major military hardware is working properly. Therefore, money needs to be spent in getting existing equipment up and running first.
Wow. Are we counting the one tank that we found in that guy's basement? I know that one was not operational.
And as you may remember from the start of the video, the German Bundeswehr has the reputation of wasting taxpayers' money. So, will
Like any government likes to sometimes accidentally do.
Germany
Accidentally.
become the new European superpower? Possibly, but not until Germany cleans up its current mess and invests the new budget wisely. But next to the world's superpowers, such as the US and China, even with Germany's new budget, it remains a small player, as it spends way too little. And this really raises the question, does an EU army make sense? Check out the videos below to see.
Yes, the EU army. Damn. I really want to react to that. An EU army. That would be something. That would be difficult, huh? With all the different languages and stuff. And just, yeah. Anyway, that was very fascinating. I'm scared. I'm scared for World War III. But it looks like you guys will be well suited to help out. Thank you so much for watching. Check out EU Made Simple, link down below. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.